You think you're losing them? You think it's over. But what if I told you this isn't abandonment, it's protection? You're not losing love. Allah is rewriting it. And when Allah rewrites a love story, it does not return the same. It returns unbreakable. What feels like separation is, in truth, divine mercy in disguise. When two souls part ways, it can feel like the most agonizing moment. You may find yourself asking, why now? Why would Allah allow this when I needed them the most? But what we often fail to see is that this is not a sign of divine displeasure. It is a sign of divine compassion. Allah sees into the depths of our hearts, understanding even what we cannot articulate. He knows when individuals are burdened with unresolved pain, insecurities, and emotional wounds. If left together in that fragile state, they would inevitably break each other more. Sometimes love is real, but it is expressed through control, jealousy, fear, or dependence. And so in His kindness, Allah intervenes, not to punish, but to protect. What feels like loss is, in reality, rescue. He separates not to destroy, but to rebuild. He grants both hearts space to heal, to grow, and to evolve into stronger, more complete versions of themselves. Because if they were to remain in their brokenness, they would keep harming each other unintentionally, tearing down what they once hoped to build. So Allah, out of infinite love, whispers, "Not yet. You're not ready, but I will prepare you." This break is not a curse. It is a concealed mercy. It is Allah's way of saying, "I love you too much to let you keep hurting one another." And when you begin to see through this divine lens, your pain slowly transforms into patience. Your heartbreak begins to shift into hope. Number one, your growth must precede your reunion. It may seem that reuniting is the only goal. You pray, you wait, you ache for things to return to how they were. But here is a deeper truth. Before any meaningful reunion, transformation is essential. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, knows that reconnecting prematurely before healing has occurred would only lead to repeated heartbreak. The same wounds, the same arguments, the same cycles would resurface, and nothing would truly change. That's why this waiting period is not wasted. It is sacred preparation. It is a season of inward focus, a time for rediscovery. Allah is calling you back to yourself, inviting you to heal what you've long carried, and to realign with your worth. It's natural to think, I'll be happy when they return. But perhaps Allah is guiding you to realize you'll be whole when you return to yourself. Number two, they may come back, but Allah wants you to find peace before they do. True love isn't about two broken souls attempting to complete each other. It is the union of two whole individuals who uplift and support one another from a place of strength, not need. In this sacred interlude, Allah is nurturing you, molding you into someone more patient, more compassionate, more self-aware. You are learning to stand with grace, to lean on Him, and to let go of the fears and insecurities that once consumed you. When you reach that inner stability, love will no longer be about filling a void. It will flow from abundance, not desperation. So do not spend this waiting period simply staring at the door, hoping it reopens. Instead, invest this time in your personal evolution. Build yourself from the inside out. Because when the reunion comes, if it is written, it won't be a return to the past. It will be the meeting of two souls who have been reborn. And that indeed changes everything. Number three, you're being pulled back to the real author. In times of heartbreak and disorientation, we often obsess over what was lost. The silence, the absence, the unanswered questions. We replay every memory, searching for meaning in the wreckage. But what we fail to see is that this heartbreak is a divine redirection. It is not merely about someone walking away. It is Allah calling you back to Him, the true author of your story. When we fall in love, it becomes all too easy to unconsciously place that person at the center of our existence. Their words, their attention, their validation can eclipse everything else. And in the process, the heart drifts away from its creator. Because Allah loves you far more than any human ever could, He sometimes steps in. He gently removes the person, not to inflict pain, but to remind you, return to me. I am the one who writes your story. This moment of loss is not punishment, it is an invitation. a sacred moment of reconnection. Allah is guiding you back to the only love that never falters, never departs, never fails. The ache in your chest is not without purpose. It's a wake-up call, a reminder to let go of the pen you've been clutching so tightly in an effort to script your own narrative. Because when you try to author your own story, you bear the weight of making everything work. You chase, you strive, you stress, you plead. But when you hand the pen back to Allah, you breathe. You say, Ya Allah, you know what's in my heart. You know what I need. Write what is best for me. I trust you. That surrender, that sacred shift from striving to trusting, is where true peace begins. You remember people are companions on your journey, not the definition of your worth. You stop asking, why did they leave me? And start asking, what is Allah teaching me through this? And in that moment of surrender, something remarkable happens. Your heart softens, your fears quiet, and you no longer hold on to anything except the one who holds it all. There are people who were never meant to carry your soul, and in moments of divine realignment, Allah gently pulls you back, not to emptiness, but to Himself. To the one who authored your story long before you ever took your first breath. To the one who already knows its ending. And to the one who promises, what I write is always greater than what you imagine. Number 4. You're not losing them. You're losing the old version. It's easy to assume that when someone exits your life, they're gone forever. The silence can be deafening, and you sit with the ache of finality thinking, it's over. We'll never find our way back. But perhaps you're not losing the person. Perhaps you're losing the outdated version of them and of yourself. And that too is by divine design. Yes, the person you love may have brought you comfort, kindness, and meaning. But they were also human. They carried wounds you couldn't heal, flaws you couldn't mend, and inner battles you never saw. And you bore your own burdens, fears, insecurities, patterns, and expectations that placed invisible weight on the relationship. Allah, in His boundless mercy, knows that some versions of ourselves were never meant to stay united. Without transformation, the relationship would have become a loop of unresolved pain, repeating the same conflicts, the same disappointments, until the bond inevitably unraveled. So He intervenes, not to end the story, but to rewrite it more beautifully. He separates you so that both hearts can evolve, so that the old selves, too fragile for the love you hope to build, can be left behind. It's not about denying your history, it's about preparing for a future that's stronger. The version of you that feared abandonment, that needed constant validation, that accepted less than you deserved, that version is being reshaped. The version of them that avoided accountability, struggled with consistency, or didn't know how to be emotionally present, that version is being refined too. This is why, when Allah reunites two people after time apart, it feels like a divine meeting of two new souls. Their gaze holds a wisdom it didn't before. Your heart holds a strength it never knew. The conversations go deeper. The love is no longer reactive, it's intentional, grounded, pure. So do not grieve the loss of the old. Trust that Allah is clearing space for something profoundly better. You're not losing them. You're losing the parts of you both that weren't meant to survive the next chapter. And when the moment is right, you'll understand why the old had to be released, for something far more beautiful to be born. Number 5. The delay is a divine upgrade. There is perhaps no greater test of faith than divine delay. You pray, you plead, you weep. You ask Allah to return what's lost, to repair what's broken, to expedite what your heart can barely wait for. And in return, there is silence. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months, and doubt quietly enters the room. Has Allah forgotten me? Has He denied me what I long for the most? But here's the truth. A delay is not a denial. It is an upgrade in motion, one you can't yet see. Because what you're waiting for may not be aligned with who you're becoming. What many fail to recognize is this. A delay is not a denial. It is Allah's divine upgrade. He doesn't withhold because you are forgotten. He withholds because He is preparing something greater than what you're currently asking for. Something perhaps even greater than what you know how to ask for. This delay is His mercy in action. He's clearing away distractions, detaching you from what could have harmed you, and protecting you from settling for less than your true worth. You may believe you're ready. You may think, if they just come back, I'll finally be happy. But Allah sees what lies beneath. He sees the parts of you that still need maturing. He sees the parts of them that still need refining. He sees the doors that must close, the lessons that must be learned, and the blessings that must align before your prayer can be answered in the best possible way. Sometimes Allah delays because He is developing something deeper within you. Your character, your patience, your capacity to love, and your reliance on Him, not on another person. He is nurturing you into someone who can hold the blessing without breaking it. Someone who won't idolize the creation, but who will always prioritize the Creator. And here's the most beautiful part. When Allah finally grants what is written for you, after all the waiting, longing, and surrender, you will look back and whisper with a full heart, Alhamdulillah for every delay. Alhamdulillah for every closed door. Alhamdulillah for what I didn't understand at the time. Because when it arrives, it will not feel rushed. It will not feel forced. It will feel divinely timed. It will feel like peace, not pressure. It will feel like home, not a battlefield. So stop viewing the delay as a punishment. Start recognizing it for what it truly is, an upgrade in progress. Trust that the longer Allah asks you to wait, the sweeter the reunion will be. Not just with the one you love, but with the version of yourself you were always destined to become. Number 6, true love will circle back. But healed. When someone leaves, one of the first thoughts that consumes us is, will they ever return? The heart trembles at the possibility that the bond is broken for good. You fear the love will vanish into memory, that it will fade quietly and permanently. But here is a truth worth clinging to. If the love is real, if it's written by Allah, it will return. Not the same, not shattered, not desperate, but healed, whole, renewed. Too often we romanticize the return of someone just as we left them. But without growth, without evolution, without divine refinement, we risk reliving the same story with the same heartbreak. It's like watching the same movie and hoping for a new ending. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, knows this. That's why separation is never only about physical distance. It's about emotional and spiritual healing. It's about unlearning toxic habits. It's about maturing past the version of love that was born from fear, control, or insecurity. He separates not to end the connection, but to purify it, to strip away what was immature, to make space for something deeper, something enduring. It's not just about removing what was ego-driven. It's about unveiling what is soul-aligned. This journey is about granting both individuals space to face themselves honestly, without the emotional noise of each other. In that silence, the true work begins. For you, this may be a sacred season of detachment, of learning how to stand on your own, no longer dependent on constant affirmation. It is a season to find peace within yourself, to anchor your worth in Allah, not in another person's presence. For them, it may be a time of sincere reflection, a humbling realization of past errors, a reckoning with accountability, and a maturation into deeper, more patient, more respectful love. So if, by divine decree, love circles back, it will not resemble what once was. It will not be the same story. It will be a love refined. They won't return as the exact version you remember, and you won't be the same either. You'll both have been tempered by time, humbled by distance, sharpened by growth. You will reunite, if Allah wills, as two people who walk through fire and emerge not burned, but purified. And that kind of love carries a depth, a quiet strength, and a sacred stability that rushed love could never attain. But here is the divine key. You cannot force this process. You cannot rush healing or manipulate what only Allah controls. You must surrender to His timing, His design, His wisdom. You must release the timeline, the details, the how, and the when. Because if it is truly written for you, then not time, not distance, not even human will can obstruct its return. So instead of chasing a person, chase your own evolution. Reconnect with your Creator. Strengthen the vessel that is your heart. so that when love returns, it does not find you empty, but whole. Prepare for a love that is more than romance. Prepare for a love that is rooted in tranquility, directed by purpose and centered in faith. A love that brings you both closer to Allah, because that is the kind of love that endures. Number 7. Without divine timing, love collapses. One of the hardest truths to accept in matters of the heart is this: even the strongest love cannot survive poor timing. You may feel the bond. You may know this is the right person. But if the timing is wrong, everything feels misaligned. Conversations turn into conflict. Small issues spiral into heavy tensions. Love becomes draining rather than uplifting. And what once felt beautiful begins to feel broken. But here's the deeper reality. It's not just about who, it's about when. Because even the right person will feel wrong when brought into your life at the wrong time. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, arranges not just meetings, but seasons. He orchestrates not just love, but alignment. He knows when hearts are truly ready, when wounds have healed, when lessons have settled, when both souls are capable of honoring each other with sincerity and spiritual maturity. Think of love like a seed, planted in winter, and no matter how much you water it, it will not bloom. Not because the seed is bad, but because the season is not yet right. But plant that same seed in spring, when the earth is soft, the sun is warm, and the conditions align, and it blossoms effortlessly. This is the power of divine timing. So trust that Allah knows the moment your heart is ready, not just to receive love, but to honor it. And when it comes, it will come gently, with ease, with light, with barakah. Only then, when both souls are ready, does Allah bring them back together. And only then can a relationship truly survive and thrive. But when we attempt to get ahead of Allah's plan, when we try to force love on our timeline, we often find ourselves exhausted, anxious, and heartbroken. We chase hearts that aren't ready. We try to build something sacred on a shaky foundation. And inevitably, the weight of it all causes it to collapse. This is why patience is not just a virtue, it's a necessity. If something is meant for you, Allah is not saying no. He's saying, well, not yet. And that not yet is where your transformation takes place. It's where your trust is refined, where your emotional endurance is built, where your faith learns to breathe without needing immediate answers. So instead of asking, why is this taking so long? Ask, what is Allah preparing me for? Because when the timing is right, nothing needs to be forced. The doors open on their own, the hearts align with ease, and love begins to flow, not from desperation, but from divine orchestration, a love rooted in Allah's wisdom, not human urgency. Number 8, what's meant for you can't miss you. One of the most soothing truths you can hold on to is this: what's meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant for you. No matter how deeply you desired it, no matter how tightly you tried to hold on. In the aftermath of heartbreak, it's natural to get stuck in the spiral of what-ifs. What if I hadn't said that? What if I had done things differently? But here's what you must remember. Allah's plan is not limited by your past. His mercy is not bound by your mistakes. And His wisdom surpasses your understanding. What is written for you was decreed long before you existed. The souls you were meant to meet, the love you were meant to give and receive, the lessons your heart was meant to grow through. It's all written in your qadr. You don't need to chase it. You don't need to beg for it. You certainly don't need to compromise your dignity to keep it. When you truly trust Allah, you release the grip of anxiety. You no longer feel the need to control every detail. You stop trying to earn love that was never meant for you. You start walking with quiet confidence, knowing this: if it's truly yours by Allah's decree, it will find its way back to you. At the right time, in the right way, without you having to lose yourself in the process. And if Allah removes something or someone from your life, it's not to harm you. It's often to protect you from what your heart doesn't yet understand. That person you thought was forever, they may have been a test, not the destination. That chapter that ended so abruptly, it may have been a setup for something greater. So when Allah closes a door, don't call it rejection. Call it redirection. towards what better serves your soul and your purpose. Instead of asking, why did they leave? What if I never find someone like them again? Remind yourself, if they were truly meant for me, they will return. And if not, Allah will replace them with something even more beautiful. Let that belief anchor your heart. Let it settle your soul, because this is the foundation of real peace. You no longer need to fear loss. You no longer cling to uncertainty. You walk forward, eyes on Allah, knowing that what's truly yours will never require you to become someone you're not to keep it. And in the end, it's not people who complete your story, it is Allah. And when you entrust your narrative to Him, you stop fearing closed chapters, because you know He is preparing the most beautiful rewrite of your life. So raise your hands, let your heart be still, and whisper with sincerity,